people...
Here's the thing you got to remember. When you talk about racial and you talk about discrimination, maybe, what if he just wasn't good enough?
Here is something people in Hollywood do not want to say out loud. Denzel Washington is not a man that can be managed. He is known for his movies, 2 Oscars, decades of iconic roles, and one of the most respected careers in Hollywood history. However, somewhere along the way, he quietly built a second reputation, and this one has nothing to do with acting. It has to do with what happens when a camera is pointed at him and someone asks the wrong question. Because there is a pattern, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Journalists go in thinking they have him figured out. They have their angle, they have their follow-up, they have the quote they need. Then the interview takes a completely unexpected turn when Denzel opens his mouth. These are the 10 moments when Denzel decided he was done playing along. The room changed 10 times. Moreover, the last one, please stay for the last one because it is the moment that explains everything else on this list. When Denzel sat down with Sports Illustrated in August 2025 to promote his new Spike Lee movie, Highest to Lowest, he was suddenly asked about the criticism that young sportsmen like Bronny James and Shedeur were receiving. The interviewer expected a diplomatic answer or maybe a confrontation, but what Denzel did can only be described as a reckoning.
Everybody's got an opinion. In fact, we live in a world of opinionaires. You know, that's what I call them, opinionaires. They're all the shows, a bunch of guys, and a couple of them that have played, but most of them who have an opinion about what something should be when they haven't done it.
However, Denzel did not stop there. He understood exactly what the interviewer was trying to do, and so he looked directly at the interviewer and added,
Come get up here with me, let's find out. Come get in the gym with me, let's find out.
I mean,
I don't mean you.
We saw
but,
you.
I can throw my hands. I can do
saw
it.
you
I can
boxing
sure do it.
in
I
the
can
Rolls
do it
Royce.
I can do it for
side
real.
by side.
The response was not only powerful, but it was also strategic. As he reduced the question he was asked by the interviewer, which was meant to make him come off as partial to a strong statement that stayed with people. Immediately, Kevin Durant reposted it, and the internet flared up. Fans began tagging any sports-talking head that they could think of. However, here's that part that made everything so complicated. Denzel showed up on First Take just days later to talk about his Dallas Cowboys, which is either the most hilarious flex in recent memory or proof that he says what he means and means what he says, and does not care what you do with it. You may think that bold response would have told other interviewers not to try to corner Denzel, but most of them still tried their luck, like the interview that took place on the 19th of May, 2025. It all started at the 78th Cannes Film Festival, and Denzel was on the red carpet for the world premiere of Highest to Lowest. He stood with Spike Lee and ASAP Rocky was approaching. From every angle, this night promised to be a perfect night, but then out of nowhere, a photographer grabbed his arm to pull his attention. It was a disrespectful act, and Denzel cautioned him immediately. He pointed his finger directly in the man's face. Stop it, stop it. When he was done, he began to walk away, but and this is the part that got me because in situations like that, most people would smile through it, laugh it off, or even let it go, but Denzel did none of those. Rather, he turned around, pulled his arm free, and said it again. Do not touch me. The video racked up over 3 million views on social media within hours. Fans flooded the comments. We do not play about that one person wrote. Dude had the audacity to grab his arm twice, said another. His rep confirmed to E! News the next morning that the evening was still a great night. And that is the heartbreaking part. He did not let one disrespectful person ruin the fact that Spike Lee surprised him with an honorary Palme d'Or that same evening, the highest honor Cannes can give. From that moment to that stage, all in one night. Being one of the best actors in Hollywood, Denzel has often been asked about the cancel culture, and every time, he has found a good way to respond. Like when a reporter from Complex asked him about cancel culture during his press tour. His fans, and basically everyone else, were so amazed at how he handled this because he did not just skillfully dismiss the question, but he dismissed the entire premise. When the interviewer explained that it means losing public support, he looked back at her and said, "Who cares?"
Do you guys consider being quote-unquote canceled a way that
What does that mean, to be canceled?
It means you lose...
How can you be canceled?
It means you lose public support.
Who cares?
And then he leaned back, stretched his arms, started laughing, and landed the line that the entire internet quoted for days. You cannot be canceled if you have not signed up. Do not sign up.
Wow, you can't be canceled if you haven't signed up. Don't sign up.
When celebrities saw the clip, they were more than excited. Taraji P. Henson even commented, "He better preach." Moreover, this is what I keep thinking about. He is not performing fearlessly. He is not doing it for the clip. He genuinely, structurally does not operate inside the system that cancel culture requires to function. You cannot cancel someone who never handed you the power to validate them in the first place. On the internet, there is a resurfaced interview that happened in 2010, and the video is from a press junket for the film Unstoppable. Moreover, honestly, when you watch that interview, something uncomfortable will happen to you because it is so clear that the interviewer came with a pre-written narrative and Denzel clocked it within the first 2 minutes. Throughout the interview, she kept steering the conversation backwards. She did not talk about the film he was there to promote or even his past work.
Career highlights, I guess, winning 2 Academy Awards would be at the pinnacle.
Then you go back to the past again.
Because I want to show all of this.
Hell,
great
you got
stuff.
an agenda here going.
Here's Denzel
all right,
winning.
She was busy baiting him for quotes that he had no interest in giving. He was not hostile, he was not rude, he was simply refusing to be used as raw material for someone else's story. In 2016, during a Fences press event, he gave a version of the same lesson to the entire media industry when asked about a news story that tried to pin him into the Clinton-Trump race.
You were the subject of a fake news story.
Oh yeah, what'd they say? I was running for president. No, I voted. No, what'd they say?
You switched your support.
I switched.
From
Yeah.
What do you make of all of the fake news and it affects
If you don't read the newspaper, you're uninformed. If you do read it, you're misinformed.
What gets me about this pattern is that he never raises his voice. He simply holds his ground, and the ground he holds is always the same. He will not participate in a narrative he did not agree to. That is a rarer thing than it sounds. The interview he was invited to in August 2025 for the Highest to Lowest with Spike Lee had a lot of journalists trying to get him to say things he never would. This was done by a journalist from Jake's Takes when he brought up his 2 Academy Awards. The interviewer had expected that he would get a warm, grateful, and award season soundbite, but Denzel was not about to give him that. Instead, he said something that the interviewer was not expecting. And then he landed the line his mother had given him years ago, the one he has carried his whole career. Man gives the awards. God gives the rewards. I am not that interested in Oscars. The interviewer refused to give up and went on to press on, where he even keeps his 2 Oscars. He laughed and said, "This one didn't only make me emotional, it also made me gasp." Back in November 2017, Denzel was busy promoting Roman J. Israel-esque. And just then, Extra's Tanika Ray asked him whether he considered himself an activist. Back then, that label carried such an enormous weight in American culture. Almost every celebrity back then was being pressured to pick a side, plant a flag, and put on a jersey. However, Denzel was never the type of actor who could be pressured into doing anything. He said 5 words that reframed the entire conversation. "I have never been an activist."
Have you been an activist for a while?
I've never been an activist. I'm active.
He did not reject the cause. He rejected the label. He rejected the idea that talking loudly about a thing is the same as doing the thing.
Where I am in life now, I'm in service, and I'm trying to be an advocate for good and change in thought, deed, and action.
Denzel has steadily made a name for himself as one of the actors who knows how to shut down interviewers skillfully, but somehow interviewers keep looking for a way to box him into a corner. Like what happened during a 2016 BET interview. It was meant to be a simple interview for him to promote Fences, but then he was asked about colorism in Hollywood. The interviewer did not mix words and immediately inquired as to whether dark-skinned black women were being excluded due to their skin tone. The interviewer was obviously hoping he would confirm it and move on because it was a real exchange with real implications. Instead, he paused and then said something that split the internet directly in half. You can say, "Oh, I didn't get the part because they gave it to the light-skinned girl," or you can work. And one day, it might take 20 years. And you can be Viola. He was not dismissing the existence of colorism after all. He had already acknowledged it publicly at a 2012 Hollywood Reporter Roundtable, where he told the room that his own daughter would have to be a triple and quadruple threat because she was black, a woman, and dark-skinned. Moreover, that is what the viral clip missed. The full picture? He wasn't saying discrimination does not exist. He refused to let it be the only story. That distinction is the hardest one to hold in public, and he held it without flinching. When asked about race, he did not hesitate to speak his truth either. The interview took place in 2014, and it was back when the Sony Pictures hack had exposed a series of internal emails that circulated among executives. One producer who wrote about The Equalizer had just been released, and he told Sony chairman Michael Linton that the studio should avoid casting black actors in big-budget films going forward. The reasoning given was that the international motion picture audience is racist, and that pictures with an African-American lead do not play well overseas. The producer acknowledged in the same email that Denzel Washington was likely the best actor of his generation. He just didn't think that should matter. Interviewers were desperate to get Denzel's point of view, and this is what stood out to the fans because when Denzel was asked about this myth of black films not selling well internationally, his answer was as simple as it was shocking. He explicitly told the interviewer what they didn't want to hear. He told them in simple terms that the system had already made a decision about his ceiling before he could even walk into the room, and he had to spend 3 decades continuously proving them wrong on every continent.
August Wilson wanted to have a black director to make the film.
Yeah, man, he got his wish.
He got his wish.
Yeah. No pressure on me, because the last I checked, I was black. I am black, so.
Check.
Yeah, I covered that.
But when interviewers saw that he wouldn't allow race to stop him, they were more determined to get a bad press out of him. And so in 2016, host Karen Hunter asked Denzel why August Wilson had specifically insisted that the film Fences be directed by a black filmmaker. From where the crowd stood, it sounded like a very simple question about race, but immediately Denzel corrected that framing. "It's not color, it's culture," he said. And then he did something no interviewer could have seen coming. He used a hot comb as a metaphor to explain the entire difference.
I know, you know, we all know what it is when a hot comb hits your hair on a Sunday morning, what it smells like. That's a cultural difference, not just a color difference.
There was silence in the room. In under 40 seconds, he was able to distinguish between representation and understanding and explain why one does not inevitably lead to the other. This is probably the best time Denzel Washington shut down an interviewer. It all started in December 2016, when Donald Trump had just won the presidential election. The country was raw, divided, and every journalist in America was pointing a microphone at any black celebrity they could find, looking for outrage or grief, or a political statement they could run with. The interview that caught Denzel was with Nicholas Balassi, and he asked him what the election meant for race relations in America. What Denzel said next became one of the most quoted things he has ever said. He did not try to blame anyone, nor did he celebrate anyone. He simply redirected the entire question away from politics and focused it on something personal, human, and immediate.
Race relationships have to do with race relationships. You're white or whatever you are, I'm black or whatever I am. We're standing here talking now. That's how we get things done. You can't legislate love.
Because here is what he understood that most people in that political moment did not, that laws can change behavior, but they cannot manufacture genuine connection. And a country that keeps waiting for a president to fix its relationships is a country that has already given away the only power that was ever actually theirs. He said it in 4 words: you can't legislate love. If you were in a room where Denzel said these things, what would your face be like? Some people have said that they will be disgusted because it shows that he has bad manners. But do you think it's bad manners, or is it just him respecting boundaries? Let us know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our new videos as they drop. See you next.